International Women's Day theme is Choose to Challenge. And talking about this in detail, we have our esteemed speaker, Alice Pallum, Principal AMP Enterprises. Welcome, Alice. Let me introduce Alice Pallum to everyone here. She has over a decade of experience in business world working with large multinational companies. After her time in the corporate arena, she decided to start her own firm to help small to medium-sized business owners. Through her business coaching, she has assisted countless businesses putting place in the processes to run more efficient and profitable enterprises. Alice Pallum, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the introduction and the opportunity to be here. So Dare to Challenge, such a large topic. Where to start, right? So I wanted to concentrate today on us, our intrinsic being. I've always found one thing to be true, that we all have that value. And if we internalize our value, understand our value, we can be unshaken by other circumstances. I've always thought that to be true. So let me share a little bit about my own history and how I've gone about that. When I started my career, I started in an entry-level position at a Fortune 100 company here in Minnesota in the United States. I found throughout my career, I was often the youngest person in the room and also the only female in the room for probably the first 10 years. I always made sure that I provided value. I knew the value I could bring. I wasn't shy about it. When there was opportunities, I put myself in those positions. As I grew into leadership roles, I continued with that attitude. I knew my intrinsic value, couldn't be shaken by the circumstance. Every once in a while, there were things that would come up. I was in a meeting one day as a director level person in our company, and we had someone from the old guard, I'll say, and he assumed that I was in the room to take notes. So I made sure I clarified that for him. I didn't just, be quiet about it. I helped him understand in a positive, supportive way that my role was actually director of this group, and I was here to participate in the conversation, not to take the notes for the conversation. That always went well. When I was true to myself, true to the role, and put that foot forward, I was always accepted. As I continued on to those leadership roles, it gave me great opportunity to hire on merit. I hired for the best person for the role. My department was very well balanced. I had both men and women in leadership roles, providing all sorts of different opportunities. And this was a technology organization. I'll just share that as well. We ran the technology part for this particular company. So as I continued on, 17 years later, I was now the vice president for the technology organization in a Fortune 100 company. Again, started out in that entry-level position. There were more women now by then. Wasn't necessarily the only one in the room anymore, but sometimes still the minority of the room. But I'm happy to say that in those 17 years, I saw lots of great strides made and lots of great opportunity for women to hold positions that contributed to the company, that were customer-facing, forward-facing, the face of that organization, and very well balanced. As Nora shared, when I left that company, I knew I wanted to work for myself. After 17 years, my job was eliminated after what here in the United States we refer to as 9/11, when we had the bombings that resulted in World Trade Centers falling down in New York City and some damage to the Pentagon. The company I was with, American Express, travel and financial services, of course, was hit particularly hard through that, and they had some layoffs as we went along. So after contributing and knowing, again, the intrinsic value of what I had to bring to the table, I decided that the best thing to do would be to start my own company. And as Nora also shared, I do coaching and consulting. I work with business owners to help them go on their own journey, put the plan together to get them there. So again, remembering that Dare to Challenge. I believe that a lot of that starts with their own selves. that we need to have that mindset that we dare to challenge the status quo. We dare to challenge our roles. We dare to challenge those circumstances. We don't want to be defined by what those circumstances are. We want to be able to make our own path, bring our own value, bring our own success. So begins with the mindset. What's your value? Sometimes as women, we downplay our value. We think that we're not as important or we don't have as much to bring. Again, know your intrinsic value. Have that mindset that you have a role to play, and don't let any circumstance deter you. We are able to start our own companies, take our own journey to where we want to go. One thing I talk about sometimes is begin with that end in mind. What do you want to accomplish? As you're in a role in a company, a job, what do you want your end game to be? And again, not let any circumstances deter you. You have your value and you can bring all those pieces to the table. That intrinsic value is one thing that is so important. To believe that down to your core being. Use it as a mantra. Use it as an affirmation. Again, you need to have that understanding so that you can't be shaken by any circumstance. Whether as I was a 23-year-old walking into a room, again, the youngest person in the room, only female in the room, and knew that I had value to bring to that conversation, value to bring to that position, value to bring to that company. You all need to believe in yourself to that degree. You have that intrinsic value to bring to the table. Amandeep, did you have a question? Or yes. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Alice. So we have question from the attendees. So
Okay.
The question that I see is, how to identify what skills are apt to achieve dreams?
That is a great question. So of course, the piece is to start with what is the dream, and then what traits are needed for what you want to achieve. I'm sorry, repeat the question again, please.
Yeah. So how to identify which skills are apt or the best to achieve the dreams?
Okay. So yeah, first, of course, is to identify what your dream is. And then take a look at what that industry is, what that role is, what's required of it, and do a little bit of research to identify then your own strengths. There's some great things you can do, like the Strength Finder program, if you've heard of that, that help you identify what your strengths are that you can then continue to develop and bring to the table. I hope that helped.
Yes, sure. Thanks, Alice. So we are end of our time. So we will now end this session and move to the next one. We really appreciate your time, Alice, to join us. It's like completely the other side of the globe. It's almost midnight your end. So we really appreciate you taking this time, and just take the pledge of choose to challenge for this year's theme for IWT.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Alice.